This is Steve Schiffman, and I want to thank you for joining me today on this particular podcast where I'm going to talk to you about some things that will help you, whether you're a manager, sales manager, or whether you're a salesperson. There's certain things that really do work for people. And the thing that I found most important in my career is planning out what I wanted to accomplish. Now, that sounds easy. You could put down anything, I guess. But what I'm going to suggest to you is that you think out what you're going to do and how you're going to get there with an ultimate goal. That ultimate goal has to be realistic, though. Don't pick something that's so ridiculous you're never going to get there. I've been coaching people now for, 20 years and training and working with sales reps and sales departments and sales managers. And the ones that are successful are truly not normal. The people who are successful in sales are not normal. Because a normal person doesn't sit down and write out their plan. They don't sit down and say, okay, how do I want to get to where I'm going in the best possible way? And what are the elements I have to bring into it in order to be successful? My plan is relatively simple. It says that in the next year, I want to accomplish 5 goals, just 5. That's what I picked. And then I write those goals down. And then what I do is say, okay, how do I do that? How many calls, if I'm in sales, how many calls, how many people, how many new sales do I have to make? And what does it take to do that? But there's a plan, there's a guide so that I know where I'm going. It's not haphazard. It isn't like, oh, I'll just go out and sell. I've seen salespeople do that. They literally walk from building to building. You want to buy, you want to buy. Yeah, I guess that works sometimes. But if you want to be a professional, then you want to plan. So here's my suggestion to you, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. Now, there are books you can buy on this, and if you'd like to know the book that I recommend, not mine, I will be glad to send you that if you write to me at steveschiffman@steveschiffman.com. Go to the website, and I will tell you the book that I really recommend. That's an excellent book for salespeople. But this is what I do. I keep a book or outlook on my schedule for any given day. I know what's going to happen next week, tomorrow, etc. I got that. The real key is in the other book I keep. The other book where I write down what I've done, not what I'm going to do, but what I've done. And it says 5 o'clock I did this, 6 o'clock I did this, 7 o'clock I did nothing. And there's a blank space there, which is okay because you need that blank space every once in a while. Well, I have kept this book or these series of books for years. And what I've learned is my pattern. I've started to understand how I work. I see that there are good periods and there are bad periods. There are happy times and sad times. There are times when you can't do anything. Christmas Day, for example, you really can't do much of anything. But I understand my business now better than I ever did before by tracking what I did, not what I'm going to do. Now, let me tell you a story. Years and years ago, I was in a taxi cab in New York City. And the cab driver, I noticed, had push pins, like thumbtacks, push pins on his dashboard. And I said, well, what is that you do there? He said, as a cab driver would say, which I can't imitate, he said, I only work 9 months a year. I go to a warm climate, Florida, whatever, during the other 3 months. I said, oh, interesting. So still, what's that going to do with that? He says, well, I figured out how much money I need to make in order to do that trip. Okay, 3 months, he's away. Figured it out. He said, then I figured out how much money I have to make per day in order to get that. Oh, kind of interesting. Then I figured out how much money I have to make as a cab driver now, who is subject to people flagging him down, right? He isn't really in control. How much money I need to make each trip. So I said, well, how do you work that? How can you stop people from hailing you? He says, is that difficult? He said, I figured out where they are. He figured out where buyers are for him. So, for example, on Christmas, which he worked, he would go to the hotels. He didn't go to residences. Residents don't travel, the residential areas. He went to hotels because hotel people are looking to go someplace else. During the weekday, he'd never work rush hour because he'd be tied up in traffic, and that wasn't productive. He didn't go on certain highways, and he didn't go out to the airports on certain days and certain times. Yeah, every once in a while he got caught doing that because it happens. but he understood his business. And because he understood his business so well, he was able to develop a system that gave him what he wanted. He knew what his goal was, and he did that. And that's a long time ago. But you could do that. You know you can do that. You know how to do it. But you're not going to do it. I know you're not. You're not going to do it. The odds are you're not going to do it. Years ago, I used to tell people in a program when I was teaching, I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to write down what your goal is going to be in 6 months. So they would take the piece of paper, and it was a big piece of paper like this. And I said, now I want you to rip it and take it, get it small, and fold it, and fold it, and fold it more until it became this little tiny piece of paper. Then I wanted you to take this little tiny piece of paper and put it deep into your pocket or into your purse, as deep as you can. I mean, I want you to bury it there. And then I said, this is what's going to happen tonight when you go home and get undressed, which I assume you'll do, or you go through your purse, which I assume you'll do. You're going to find this little piece of paper. And if you're like me, you're going to kind of remember it, maybe not. And you're going to open it up, and there's your goal. Now, you can do two things with that little tiny piece of paper. You can throw it out and say, who cares? Or you can say, why don't I put it right on my mirror and remember what it is I want to accomplish? That's something that you could do right now. Plan out what you want, and then get it. If you're interested in consulting or coaching, I'm available to help you. I got a call today. Somebody's writing a book, needs some pieces. I said, by all means, call me. We'll work together on it. And same with you. I will be willing, more than willing, to help you in your career, no matter where you are. Whether you're the top salesperson, you're the bottom, whether you're brand new or you've experienced. There are things that we can talk about that will help you accomplish your goals and get further ahead than you've ever been before. And if you want to, go to Amazon. Take a look at the books. There's a book for every person out there. So I want to thank you very much for joining me. I want you to use the things that I talk about. That's the only reason I do it. As I tell you all the time, there's only 5 minutes of these things because I don't want to take up your time and have 45 people on this podcast with me to tell you how they've succeeded and how you're going to fail, because I know you're going to succeed. So this is Steve Schiffman. Again, thank you. And as always, you humble me by your presence. Hi, this is Steve Schiffman, and I want to give you some important news. You and I both know that the only way you're going to be successful in sales is by generating appointments. That is, by meeting more people and new people. So how are you going to do that? Well, you've tried, you've thought about it. I'm releasing for the first time the video tape program, the entire program on how to generate appointments. Follow the directions below, and you have a chance of becoming one of the most successful salespeople that you know. Thanks for joining today.